for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA. Knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil. Pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch. Got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rock a laundry lynch. Assassin hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine. No use to fight back. MMA. Knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger.
What is going on, everybody? How we doing today? As usual, hope you're doing well. It is a Tuesday of all days. Excuse me. I also am not really getting as much volume on my mic as I would like to. I don't know exactly what the cause of that is. Excuse me. Sorry. I'm trying to see if it's a yeah, you know what? I think it was a positioning thing is what it was. But it's a Tuesday. We usually wouldn't stream Tuesdays, but I wanted to make sure that I streamed tonight because I haven't streamed since last week. I've been dealing with some technical issues. My computer was a little bit fucked up and I had to replace the CPU in it. I also might have to replace the power supply, but we're starting with the CPU. And if it keeps fucking up, I'm gonna try the power supply next. But yeah, so hopefully everything's gonna be good. Gonna knock on some wood there. But hope we're all doing well tonight. What's going on, Peach Boy? What's going on, Oxygen? What's going on, Nuclear Snake? Hope we're all doing well tonight. I've said that like 5 times now. Look, I'm rusty, guys. Okay, I'm a little rusty. So because of that, I'm repeating myself a bit. All right, you're gonna have to excuse me. I also I wanna do a little bit more shilling in a couple of different places. So you're gonna have to excuse me while I try to figure that out. I am in way too many Discord servers. I just kind of hang around in those Discord servers, not even doing anything. I don't even look at them half the time, but. It's been a fucking crazy day today, honestly. Crazy day in world events, and of course we're gonna be talking a little bit about that. What's going on, Goobus Aurelius? Hope you're doing well. Black people be like, Carmelo innocent, bruh. He was disrespecting him. He wasn't putting spec on his name. Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, and also, fuck, the UK is on fire tonight. I just bit my cheek. That's why I was like, oh fuck. But yeah. It's lots been happening. I wanted to stream last Wednesday, and the CPU issue got so bad that I couldn't even watch YouTube on my computer. All I could do was play Fallout 2. That was basically the only thing that it was like stable for, and even then, sometimes it would crash still. And I'm hoping and praying here. I have hardware monitor up. I also want to make sure that I can monitor some temperatures and everything like that. It's looking like we are good so far, but yeah. Oh man. I don't even know what to talk about first because there's things from last week that I kind of wanted to talk about, and then there's things from today that I want to talk about, and it's like, what order should I talk about them in? Like, I feel like I should start with the more recent ones and then get into the older one because it's at this point a little bit more esoteric. But Carmelo Anthony found guilty of murder, sentenced to 35 years in prison, and he is eligible for parole once he has served about half of that. So that's like 17 and a half years he's going to be guaranteed to be in prison. And look, I'm not going to call that justice because you know what? How can you call it justice when a young man was ripped away from his family, from his friends, from the world? A young man who could have and probably was going to do so many good things. I'm talking, of course, about Austin Metcalf. Carmelo, you know, fuck that guy. I think what it should have been was the death penalty unless he pled guilty to the murder and stood up in front of the courtroom and made I was about to say heartfelt or sincere. It wouldn't have been heartfelt and sincere, but he should have had to have degraded himself in some way. He should have had to stand up in front of the court in full view of everybody and said some like gay shit like, hey yo, I suck dick and shit. Like that's what he should have been forced to do to avoid the death penalty, and even then it should have been life in prison, you know. um it you know, it is hey, it is what it is, you know. People are fucked up that way. People are fucked up that way. What's going on, the Entertainment Express? Hope you're doing well tonight. um He's gonna make a movie about when he gets out. It's insane, the two-tier system. Oh yeah, 100%. You know, and a situation like Carmelo Anthony, like if you understand the propaganda, if you understand the way all that bullshit works, you understand that Carmelo Anthony will be held up as some kind of civil rights hero or victim in like 10 to 15 years. That's what they're going to try their best to do. They're going to inflate it as though Carmelo was getting the shit kicked out of him. And he was like, hey, yo, please stop hitting me, man. I don't want any trouble and shit. And then because he had absolutely no choice, pulled out his knife and started stabbing. You know, there's so many situations when it comes to like even the civil rights era and stuff like that, where it's like, oh no, actually that guy who got his ass beat was starting shit. He started shit and he got his ass beat, and now the black community and you know the communities that are adjacent to and in support of the black community, they're turning that guy into some kind of like martyr. Like he was just walking down the street minding his own business, and he tried to de-escalate and he tried to do the right thing because he's a good boy is what he is. And these evil whites, evil whitey took him down. That's what's going to end up happening. That's the way they're going to treat that. And we have to be prepared for that. I think it's a lot easier now because of the fact that media is so dispersed. You know, it was real easy for them to cover up something like Kent State in Ohio. The only way you would know anything about what happened at Kent State in Ohio was through major media. And then there was that Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song that they did, you know, for dead in Ohio. Like, imagine you're some teenager from Massachusetts and that song comes on the radio and you learn about it and you're like, oh, that's so fucked up. They just fucking shot those people. And there's nobody there to be like, well, yeah, actually, they were rioting. They were burning buildings and hurting people. And they were throwing rocks at the fucking National Guard. They were asked to disperse multiple times, and they were trying to kill the National Guard members. That's why they got blasted. So, fuck off. Like, there was nobody around back then to really push that narrative, even though it is the true and correct narrative. And because of that, even today we learn that actually Kent State was big. Nixon is a bad guy. Nixon's the bad guy, you know, and it's like fucking A. But today, it's a lot easier for us to strike this shit down, you know. It's actually pretty amazing. Like as somebody who was involved in activism in the late 2010s. I can remember how doom and gloom it really was, and we kept fighting for as long as we could, but it got to a point, particularly in like, you know, the early 2020s, that we were just like, okay, this is not like, it's not gonna end well if we keep on doing what we're doing. Not that we were doing anything illegal or anything like that, but you know, it's a two-tier system. You will be arrested for free speech in America. It will happen. You know, it happens all the time actually, but like I can remember just how bleak it all was, you know, and in every way it was bleak. But like now we're more than halfway through the 2020s. First off, where does the fucking time go? Holy shit. But now we're halfway through the 2020s, and the average person is doing like low IQ anti Semitism, low IQ reactionaryism, and stuff like that, which it's low IQ. So it's like, But I mean, at the very least, you have people moving to the right more and more and more. People are starting to actually realize, like, oh no, like, fuck. You're like, we can't just be regular conservatives. We have to be more than that, right? Um, it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. You know, the strides that have been taken over the last 6 to 7 years are insane. It's so crazy, especially over the last couple of years. It's so crazy to think about. You know, I never would have thought it would be this way now. You know, but like what I'm saying is we have to be ready for them to try and turn Carmelo into some kind of like civil rights hero or something like that. Like the guy was just minding his own business, and he was forced to stab somebody. They're going to try and play that. They're already trying to play it, but like it will, if we don't take back the institutions, be parroted on an institutional level within 5 to 10 years, 15 years max. That's the way it's going to happen. You know, so be ready for that. Be ready for that. What's going on, iPhone Meat? Hope you're doing well, man. Hey, Scott, I'm doing a Roblox podcast debate night on October 15th. Diggums and Drake are ready for the debate as Republican and Democratic candidates. Also, I'm hosting Fish Tank Season 6. That's pretty insane. Fucking on what on your channel? You're gonna have that. You're gonna have your Diggums and Drake. Fuck, man. Like when you say Drake, do you mean James Drake? And I feel bad, but like who's Diggums? Should I know who Diggums is? I feel bad about that because I know who Duggum is. I know who Duggum is, but I'm not 100% sure what you know you know. Anyway, Carmelo Anthony is a freeloader for season 6. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Slowly the Anglo learned to hate. Oh yeah, you know. Oh, excuse me. Look, like when you put people in a situation where it's either you become the bad guy or you die, most people are going to choose to be the bad guy. And bad guy is subjective in the first place because what is the bad guy, right? We know what an objective bad guy is, but when it comes to the way that like large groups of people operate, what a bad guy is may be a little bit different from person to person, right? When it comes to the human way that we think, a lot of people have different interpretations of what makes somebody a bad guy, right? We know that just wanting to live and breathe and survive and thrive if you work hard enough and you deserve it, that's not evil, right? But a lot of people will call that evil because they have a vested interest in you not doing that well, right? And in a situation where you are telling someone that if they don't fall on the knife for you, they're a bad guy, a lot of people are not going to fall on the knife. A lot of people are going to be like, nah, fuck that, and fuck you, you know? And then on top of that, they're going to pick up their own knife and say, hey, you better stay away from me with that knife because I got my own knife too, you know? And that's what a lot of law enforcement was based around for the last 20 to 40 years. It especially started to ramp up, I want to say about like 30, you know, maybe 25 years ago. Even more time now, even more time, honestly, like 40 to 50 years now, that's what law enforcement has been. If you pay attention, you'll notice that the only gangs that they are really that dedicated to taking down in a real sense are white gangs. We're talking the mafia, we're talking skinheads, things like that. When it comes to talking about those gangs, they want those gangs eradicated. When it comes to other gangs like Latino, Black, even Asian gangs, there's Asian street gangs, believe it or not. It's never about, hey, we need to eradicate these gangs. No, it's we need to do community outreach. There just ain't enough opportunities in the ghetto is what it is. We need to reach these kids. When it comes to white gangs, it's, oh no, they're reprobates, they're evil, we need to eradicate them. And it's like it's not even incorrect, right? Normal, well-functioning people don't join gangs. It's not really something that goes down. But at the very least, if this group and that group and that group are going to have it, you would think that the other group gets to have it too. And the reason why is because criminality, even though it's bad and you shouldn't be given to criminal behavior, if you have a class of people who they have just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to join a skinhead gang. A lot of them, they call them social clubs, right? And not all of them are like straight up gangs, but you had skinhead social clubs that were like, nah, they ran like prison rules type shit. Um, but like, if you have that group of people, it makes it a lot harder to march into a neighborhood and do something in that neighborhood. You know, it's like what they say about the mafia. Like it was never safer in Brooklyn than when the mafia had control. People wouldn't even fucking litter on the streets. Something would be done about that, you know? Now you get a lot of different parts of New York that are just fucked up. People are getting hurt, robbed, raped, worse, you know? And I mean, hey, you know, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. How's it going, Scott? Just got done with Muay Thai. Do you think that it should be a requirement for all law enforcement officers to have at least a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Yes, 100%, you know? Most cops don't know anything about anything. And since their job is one where they're going to have to physically fight and subdue somebody, if they don't know how to do that, then they shouldn't be cops. But there's so many cops that get away with being able to not know fucking anything, and they just rely on their weapons and everything like that. They rely on their fucking weapons, and those weapons don't really work that well. If you tase someone, the second you stop tasing them, it doesn't hurt anymore. I would assume at the very least it hurts a lot less. You know, so if you have somebody who's that committed to either getting away or fighting, when you stop tasing them, there's a good chance they're not going to give in. That's what a lot of different weapons that the police utilize are designed for, specifically the less than lethal, is they're not designed to actually help subdue someone. They're designed to try and break someone's spirit, to demoralize them so that they're like, oh, my fucking eyes, instead of, no, I'm going to beat the hell out of you, you know? And the way you see cops lay on their tasers, you know, they just pull the trigger and they just sit there for like 5, 10 seconds sometimes. It's like that's not good for a couple of different reasons, you know. But yeah, cops. I've met so few cops that actually know what they're doing. I've met so few cops that even when I was at my fattest, I used to be 285. I'm like between 240 and 250 right now, and I'm still trying to lose. Um, I actually got some quality rolls in today at jiu-jitsu, so that was nice. But there's so many cops that even when I was at my fattest, they could not do anything if I decided I did not want to do what they asked me to do. And that shouldn't be the case. The police should be able to at least, if not kick my ass, not that I want the cops like actually beating the hell out of people, but like they should have the capacity to do that, right? If they can't at least kick my ass, they need to know how to like slow me down enough so that another 3 or 4 dudes can come and grab one of my arms and shit like that. You know, that's what they need to be able to do. But most cops, just even the male ones, you know, they just don't fucking know anything. They're dummies about it, and it's like fucking A. And we tried to get the police force into my gym to learn something. Not interested. They're just not interested because they look down on anyone that's not a cop. That's the worst fucking thing about cops is their cop attitude. Is no, I'm not. No, I'm not gonna train with a civilian. And it's like this civilian could fucking kill you before you could do anything about it. Like, well, why would you not want to learn from a guy that could beat your ass? Like, that's exactly the kind of guy you have to be afraid of, you know? It's like, fuck. But anyway, um, what was I gonna say? Oh man, excuse me. But yeah, like I was talking about like good guys versus bad guys, right? If you force people into a corner, they're gonna choose to be a bad guy that survives over a good guy that dies, and you're gonna start seeing more and more people who have that opinion. That's the opinion I have. Is look, I'd rather be a bad guy that lives than a good guy that fucking dies for what, social justice. Because of that, whenever I'm in Brockton, Massachusetts, which is a place I do have to go to pretty frequently, I kind of go ready to have to fight somebody. Not that I want to. I don't ever want to fight anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody in any way for any reason. But I know that, like, if I'm walking around and some teen in a shiesty swings on me, I'm not going to cool adult my way out of that. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, slick. Hey, hip urban youth. Do you like hip hop? I like hip hop. It's okay. I'm one of the good ones." That's not the way it's gonna fucking work. You gotta you gotta be ready. And that's what I was talking about. That's kind of what I was like getting at with the whole like white gangs thing. Is like, I don't think there should be gangs in general, but that's exactly why they only want to eradicate white gangs. That's the reason why that's such a huge focus on them. There's such a huge focus on them is because when it comes down to it, like, if you live in a neighborhood and you have a gang that is like, yeah, they're a gang and they're not good and you don't really like what they're doing, but like at the very least they look like you, they sound like you, they kind of relate to you a little bit. That's a lot better than having a gang of dudes from across town that are like Native American come into your neighborhood whenever they feel like they want to fucking rob somebody or just beat up the white boy. It's much better to have the first thing than the second thing. It's not good to have gangs at all. It's not good to have criminality at all. But I mean, you know, you know. Scott, can you talk about Brock Lesnar? Have you ever seen anyone his size and speed? What if he went right into MMA out of college? I mean, I don't know what would happen if he went into MMA out of college. The thing about Brock Lesnar is that he was not that good. And his record shows it. I think Frank Mir, he's 1-1 against Frank Mir. Let's I'm just curious, but yeah, I mean, Brock Lesnar was a physical specimen, and because of that, it was interesting to see him. He also had the WWE persona, right? And that's half the reason why Brock Lesnar went into MMA in the first place, is because he was doing the WWE thing and he had actual NCAA wrestling experience. He was a national champion for the I believe it was the Gophers. Excuse me, but like, hold on. Let's see here. Mixed martial arts record. Yes. Itchy. But, yeah, like there were aspects of Brock Lesnar's career that like didn't pan out, and they didn't pan out for a couple of different reasons. For one thing, Brock Lesnar was not really that much of a fighter. He was a very good wrestler. He didn't have like terrible hands, but I mean, he wasn't really anything special there either. And he really did not like getting hit. He did not take to getting hit very well, and that's part of the reason he had some of the losses that he did. Like, for instance, right? Beats this dude, I don't even know who the hell that is. Loses to Frank Mir. Beats Heath Herring. Heath Herring was kind of a he was a gatekeeper, right? Randy Couture, okay, that's impressive, but also Randy Couture was more of a light heavyweight than a heavyweight, if we're being honest here. Yeah, and I mean UFC heavyweight championship, right? Frank Mir, he got that win back, good for him. Shane Carwin was. He's very good, but people don't think of Shane Carwin when they think of like the golden age of MMA, if we're just being honest here. Then he loses to Kane, he loses to Alistair Overeem, and then no contest with Mark Hunt, which he originally won that. It was I guess unanimous decision, but it was overturned when he tested positive for I guess it was clomiphene. I don't even know what the hell that does, but it's basically a steroid. He pissed hot, and I guess the UFC was aware that he was pissing hot, and they covered it up or something like that. Is what Mark Hunt alleged. He sued the UFC. He may even still be suing the UFC. I could be wrong about that, but yeah. Glasgow riots are happening, small scale so far. Yes, that's one of the things we were going to talk about. Yeah, and in fact, you know what? I was kind of in a rush to get this thing started, so I'm not 100%. I'm not exactly 100%. I'm not 100% prepared. You're gonna have to forgive me here, but you can see here, fucking the Irish are ready to burn the entire city of Belfast down to the ground over Sudanese migrants trying to behead native Irish people. I don't blame them for being upset. We'll go ahead. We'll play this. Man, that is insane. That is so fucking crazy. That is a huge, huge fire. I wonder what is even burning. It's probably an entire city block. That is a fucking wild. So what happened, right? I'm gonna look for more footage, but what happened was there was a beheading attempt in Belfast, Ireland. There was a Sudanese migrant who I guess he only moved there like 4 or 5 days before, and he attacked somebody who actually was, I guess, hard of hearing. He was disabled. He tried to saw his head off, and I guess the guy may have lost both of his eyes. I don't know if he is dead or alive. I saw reports that he was dead, but the reports were not really like, random person on Twitter type of report. Obviously praying for him. I hope that he is okay. I hope he's as okay as he can be, that is. But yeah, so now the Irish are kicking off, and the thing is, I don't know exactly what's going down. Oh, okay. This is one I have yet to see. I have yet to see this one. This is fucking bonkers. I have yet to see this.
You fucking foreigners!
This right here. I'll explain it after. Whoa, that is wow. So, what's happening is the Irish are rioting, and they are burning the houses of migrants. Anybody who is associated with a migrant, either it's like this is public housing that was given to a migrant, or if it's somebody who was helping migrants a little too much, they are kicking them out of their homes and burning them down, which I of course do not condone. Totally not. Never. No sir. But it's just like, wow. Like, I mean, I can believe this is happening, but I can't believe this is happening. And I am not 100% sure about what's going on here with the demographics. And I don't mean demographics like race demographics. I mean, whether it's unionists or excuse me, I didn't mean to say unionists. Excuse me. Whether it's Catholics or Protestants, whether it's some kind of like Republican faction, or if it's a loyalist faction or anything like that. I don't know if it's one or the other. I don't know if it's both of them. But it would not surprise me one bit to find that it is both of them. The unfortunate reality, as much as we like to meme about the IRA and stuff like that, they are raging leftists a lot of the time. Specifically the Provo IRA, which was one of the bigger and or maybe even the biggest and one of the more influential factions of the IRA in the Troubles. They are raving leftists. They're communists. They have they're scumbags. They're pieces of shit, right? And because of that, it would not surprise me one bit to find that one or many of them are sitting here like, oh well, I mean, it was just one migrant. It was just one migrant. Who cares? Like, I would not be surprised by that. However, like, the fact is, um, you know, based Ireland, oh boy. I lost my train of thought. I got some good rolls in today at the gym, so because of that, I'm kind of drained. I'm feeling good. Like, I have that post-workout high, but because of that, like, I'm sorry if I'm a little all over the place. I feel like I'm doing all right though. It's just like that was like such an awkward and fuck, what was I saying? But like, regardless of what the demographics are, the bottom line is like the Irish people have had enough, and it is a situation that I feel very ill-equipped to speak out against. And I'm not saying that I condone this. I'm not saying I condone this. There was also one where they burned a bus. I'm not saying I condone rioting and kicking people out of their houses. However, it's hard for me to look at that and say that I don't get where it's coming from, even if I don't condone it. And that is something that a lot of people probably feel as well. You know, they say that a riot is the voice of the unheard, or something like that. I believe that was Martin Luther King, one of their favorite dudes, right? Let's look that up, right? Let's look that up. Uh, yes, a riot is the language of the unheard. Martin Luther King said that, right? Um, Well, the Irish people have been unheard for a long time. The Irish people have been being ignored. I don't know many, if any, Irish people outside of maybe like some cities and stuff like that. And I'm not saying I know them personally. What I'm saying is like most Irish people that I have ever met, they, even if they don't have like some kind of ultra right wing view on things, they kind of look, if you know the history of Ireland even a little bit, you understand that they don't want to have their place ruled by foreigners. They don't want to give their homeland away to foreigners. You might have some like wannabe Stavros Halkias, wannabe Nick Mullen, scumbag lefty types. You might have some of those living in like Limerick City or Dublin or some other area, some other metropolitan area where they have pride flags hanging out of everywhere. You might have those guys, but the majority of the Irish people do not want that. They do not want that kind of thing. And if you ignore them, I mean, what option are you giving them to be heard? You know, these guys vote certain ways. They protest certain ways. They want certain things for their nation, and these politicians don't give it to them. And it's like, well, again, not that I condone it. I think that they should definitely stop, totally, for sure, 100%. But at the end of the day, like, if they feel that's the only way to get their point across, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you, you know? It just had to be Belfast, too. Like, you could get away, like, from what I've seen on the internet, which is not boots on the ground here, it's not like I'm an expert or I really know, but when I see people fighting migrants on the internet, a lot of the time it ends up being the Irish, right? And they could be just about anywhere, and they'll whoop somebody's ass and then they'll walk away and they'll be like, all right, whatever. But Belfast is a different animal. Decades, I think, what, like almost 40 years, I think it was, just like 30 or 40 years of sectarian violence that included bombings and arson and shootings and all this other crazy shit. There was no way it was going to go any other way. I mean, like let's look at, right? Let's see here, right? um I'm looking for a fucking, yes, right here. Look at this. Like, where have you seen anything like this before? Anything like this fucking thing right here, right? There are bars across the windshield. You anywhere in Europe, you would never see a paddy wagon like this except for Belfast, Ireland. Except for Belfast. That just tells you how fucking crazy it gets out there. That they need these things, you know? It's like holy fucking shit. Um, I think I think most Europeans hate foreigners, but they just let their governments walk all over them and do nothing. Look at the UK. Yeah, I mean, it's one thing. Like it's not so cut and dry, you know. Like the most welcoming, refugees welcome, hey, we want people to come to our country kind of person, they become immediately xenophobic when an American goes to their country. Like Ireland, for instance, right? That's a big thing in the cities is like, again, you're a scumbag leftist, you're a dirtbag leftist trying to pretend like trying to pretend you're edgy, you know. You'll talk about how Charlie Kirk deserves to die, but don't you dare say a racial slur around me, bud. Don't you dare, you know. You have those types in major cities in Ireland where like they would love the idea of getting raped by a fucking Somalian. They probably jack off to that idea. But the second an American shows up, like, oh man, huh? It's pretty crazy here. What's that? Boxty? Oh, that's huh. Interesting. I've never heard of boxty before. I figured you guys just ate corned beef and cabbage. Ha 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 ha. Right? Like the second an American does that, they're like, "Get the fuck back to your country." Like that's the way they fucking react to it. You know, it's kind of a situation where it's like everybody is a little bit xenophobic. It just depends on who, what, and when. Yeah, you know. Um, I think it's a situation where people just want to live their lives, and because of that, if they walk down the street and they pass a Sikh dude, they don't really care. It doesn't make a difference to them. But if those Sikh dudes start really fucking disrespecting the hell out of the environment and the people in it, for that matter, then yeah, they're probably gonna be like, "Yo, what are these people doing here? Send them back. Send them back." You know. What's going on, Binkle 1470? What's going on, Binkle 1474? Hope you're doing well tonight. The most bombed city in Europe, they say. I believe it. I believe it. You know? Went on a Is that where the famous pic of the girl is from? Went on a spree after they killed her boyfriend? I don't know what you're referring to. Are you talking about the IRA one where it looks like a woman holding a rifle? If that's the case, I think it was literally that some of the IRA guys, like when they were going to ambush somebody, they would use disguises pretending to be females. I think that's what that was. But then again, I don't know. I don't know. You know, maybe that was really a woman. You know, Irish women can sometimes look like that. You know, I know you guys have seen Just a Mix. Nah, that's mean. That's mean. You know, I wonder what Justa Minx is up to. I hope she's doing well, man. You know, I don't have any ill will towards her. I hope she's doing well. You know, I tried to interview her one day, and I hit her up, and I'm like, hey, like, do you want to do an interview? And she calls me on Twitter, and like I pick up the call, and I just hear, "You fucking cunt." I shit you not. I'm not lying about that. It was like probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. I've been trying to interview her for a long time. I haven't talked to her in forever. You know, I was trying to interview her for a long time, and like one of the days I hit her up, like, "Hey, so did you want to do that or what?" And she calls me, not even to be like, no, she just straight up wanted to talk on the phone. She just wanted to have a phone conversation. That wasn't like a, "you fucking cunt," no. It was literally like, "you fucking daft cunt. So what are you up to?" Like that's literally, I swear to you. I swear to you that's what fucking happened. You know, and it was like, holy, what the fuck? But yeah, hope she's doing well. Joe, all jokes aside, you know. Um, man. Hold on. Let's see if we can find some more Ireland stuff, because I'm kind of, and this right here is one of the crazy things to me, right? You see how it's still light outside? You see how it's only just getting to sunset right now? You remember in 2020 when the genocidal George Floyd riots were going on, where they tried to rise up and kill all white people? You remember when that happened? Fucking, they at least had to wait until it was dark out before they really started getting buck. I could remember like one or two situations where it was like, oh, okay, like they're trying to start something during the day, but no, typically they had to wait until nighttime. That's what happened in Boston, and I mentioned Brockton, Mass, where you know I have to go there for work every now and again, and fucking like they even had riots in Brockton, Mass. My wife was living in Brockton at the time, and I was like a couple of blocks away from the riots. I was hanging out with her and it was like holy fucking shit. You could hear yelling and shit like that. Um, that was wild. But they waited until after dark, and as it's June, it doesn't get dark around here until like 8 p.m. And that's when the riots started. These guys are broad day. Come on, Potty, let's burn the house. Like that is wild. That is fucking amazing. But amazing in a bad way, of course. Amazing in a bad way. Let's go ahead and see. I love how cutesy they look in their fire department shit. That's one thing about European stuff is like their shit looks adorable. Like look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. Doesn't he look fucking cute? Doesn't he look just like a fucking cutie in there? Just sitting there. It's like holy fucking shit, dude. It's like what the hell is that shield gonna protect against? Yeah, that's the thing about European cops, and it's like I'm not telling anyone to do anything here, obviously, of course, right? Like I said, I don't condone any of this. You got these migrants that are literally running from where they were living for however long. Um, anyway, oh boy, oh boy, yeah. Well, maybe don't drop tons of incompatible people into a an area, and people won't blow up like a powder keg eventually. You ever think of that one? Again, not that I condone what's going on here. It's not a good thing, and I do think they need to stop. But also, like, getting the fucking, this, getting this shit after it. It's like, genuinely go and fuck yourself. It's like, nah, I think I'll fuck your mother instead. How about that one? Dumbass. Oh, here we go. Anyway, oh yeah, there's like a fucking checkpoint here, but fuck, what was I saying too before that thing popped up? Oh yeah. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I am in no way, shape, or form saying that that is acceptable or even something as simple as just attacking the cops. But like as an American, my brain cannot comprehend the idea of a cop who does not have a gun and it's not inherently illegal for me to fight him coming up to me and telling me to do something and me listening. There's two things that keep most Americans from doing anything other than what the police tell them to do. One, it's the gun. Two, it's the fact that if you resist, especially if they perceive you to be trying to hit them in some way, shape, or form, you will get extra charges. You will have the book thrown at you. Those are the two things that keep us kind of from like looking at the cops and being like, fuck you, make me. Because I mean, they can make you. They got guns. Where are you going to escalate to, especially if you don't have a gun, right? And then even before it gets to that point, it's like fucking yeah. And I don't even agree with that. I think that guns is one thing. Cops need guns. But I don't agree with the whole like upgraded charges or having the book thrown at you because you resist a cop, because there are so many situations where that is abused. I saw a video of a guy where the cops came to his house and they didn't find anything. And as they were walking out, the guy's like, okay, well, I guess you guys have a good night. And he's closing the door nice and slowly. And the cop purposefully stopped in the door so that the door would hit him, busted the door back open and was like, why are you trying to hit me, huh? You're under arrest. Like, that type of shit happens so much that like it needs to be legal to fight the cops, or if not legal, it needs to be decriminalized where it's like, yeah, maybe you'll catch a bit of an extra ass beating, but you're not going to end up in prison any longer than you would have for the charge that you got, But like going back to European police, many police departments, many police services in Europe, I don't know if England and Ireland are one of them. I would assume they are, but it's not actually like inherently illegal to fight the cops. So the idea that like a line of cops with shields is going to stop me from doing anything, it's like that's a crazy thought to me when that's all they got. There's no extra charges I'm gonna get if I do something. They can't shoot me because they don't have guns. That's like, it's such a crazy thought to me, you know. And look, again, I'm not saying to do anything. I'm not saying that the British people and, you know, the Irish people need to be doing crazy shit like that. But like, one of these days, people are gonna get so angry that they're gonna realize, like, wait a second, why aren't we beating the fuck out of these dudes? Fuck the police line. Let's surround them and pound them. Let's surround and pound. Let's run that train. Is what's gonna happen. And like I said, I don't want that to happen. You know, please don't do that. But I mean, I mean, what's stopping them? Got to think about that one, you know? All right, let's go ahead.
Holy shit.
They have a fucking checkpoint set up.
Don't like it a video. Yo, they're fucking checking if they were fucking holy shit.
Sorry, one sec. I just want to sorry, just looking at some shit. Okay, well, anyway. Protesters clash with migrants on the streets of Glasgow. Oh, okay. This one isn't even Ireland. This one's Scotland. You know, the thing about Glasgow, Ireland, Glasgow. How do you say that shit? I'm pretty sure it's Glasgow. But the thing about Glasgow is that they have a large Irish population because when the famine hit, the Irish went to a few different places. They went to Australia, they went to America, they went to Glasgow, and they went to Liverpool, England, and yeah, I think Birmingham as well. But you know, when I think of the Irish in England, I think of like Liverpool a lot of the time, and I feel like a lot of people do. You know, I mean, Paddy Pimblett, for instance, right? But like, it does not surprise me that the people in Glasgow would erupt like that. You know, what the fuck? Hey. This guy's doing a really good job of not getting anything on camera, which is that's part of it. You know, that's part of it. He's doing that on purpose. You know, he doesn't want to get too much on camera. Betty says free Diddy. Oh boy. Anyway, so yeah, this guy purposefully didn't get too much on camera because if you pay attention, these guys are all in a block right now. When people think of black bloc, they think it's like an Antifa thing, and Antifa utilizes it, but black bloc is really a tactic. The point of it being that if you and a bunch of other people are dressed the same in one color, especially a color like black, which kind of blends in, you will have a harder time you'll have a harder time prosecuting, or you will have a harder time being prosecuted for anything that you may or may not do. That's why Antifa does things the way that they do, and it works. It does work, because the thing about specifically the American court system, and I would assume it's similar in Europe as well, you have to prove guilt. You don't prove innocence, and because of that, it's easy for a defense attorney to inject doubt. You know, if you and 100 other guys are wearing just about the exact same thing and you whack someone over the head with, say, a bike lock, and you melt back into that crowd, even if the police identify and snatch you 2 seconds after you do it, it's real easy for a lawyer to be like, well, I mean, how did you know it was him? Apparently they were all dressed the same. How do you know you didn't get the wrong guy? And it's like, well, how do they know they didn't get the wrong guy? it's kind of tough to argue against that, you know? And that is something that it's not uniquely European, you know, but that's something that the Europeans are really good at. The way Antifa organizes, the way they operate is very similar to the way hooligan clubs operate in, well, not just England, but Europe in general, you know? Um, what you're seeing when you see like Antifa is really it's European in nature, you know, and it's not just a left wing European thing either. There's right wing football clubs. This is one of the things that like I'm not English, so I can't really know for 100% fact. But it's funny to me when certain people talk about football, you guys in your goy ball, and it's like, look, if you guys were smart, you would co-opt these hooligan clubs just like they were co-opted years ago for whatever political cause they supported. You have Antifa football clubs, you have right-wing football clubs. Like for instance, right, we were looking at something from Glasgow, Green Brigade, which are Celtic FC supporters. They are an Antifa club. You can see them flying the Antifa flag and doing the whole Free Palestine thing and all that other stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the Green Brigade assholes decide that they're going to come out and they're going to try and fight these dudes. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to find that that ends up happening in Glasgow. You know, I only just learned that things were going down there, right? But the you know, it's I'm not English, I'm not European, so I don't know exactly the nature of those clubs nowadays, but you have different football clubs, or not football clubs, but hooligan firms that have different political bents to them. You know, Lazio, for instance, in Europe, right? They're straight up like neo-fascists. You know, Lazio in Europe, of course, it's in Europe. Lazio in Italy, they are neo-fascists essentially. You know, they're a right-wing club. But yeah, I'm from Liverpool, and I think we have the most Irish ancestry in the country because of how close Liverpool is to Ireland. Yeah, you know, it's like Boston. It's like fucking they just hopped off the boat and we're like, all right, I guess we're settling here. That's just what they did, you know. Oh man, I'm glad I'm streaming tonight. It feels good to stream tonight, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am kind of losing steam, so I apologize. It's been about a week, maybe even a little bit more. You know, so I apologize if I am kind of shit in the bed. It's like I said, I'm rusty plus I'm rusty plus I am tired. So, you know, my bad on that. But oh, here's another one. I want to be very careful about showing you things because part of the reason why this was such a big deal is because the attack of the guy was caught on camera. The attack of the Irish dude was caught on camera, and there was footage and pictures circulating. So I want to make sure I don't scroll down and accidentally show you guys gore, you know. Last time you got mogged by your computer. Pretty much, you know. E9000 Scott spitting true ball knowledge right now. Yeah, I mean, like, when I was an activist, we had to understand that stuff. We had to study it, you know? Like, one of my favorite movies when I was a teenager was Green Street Hooligans. And this is before I even, like, got involved in activism. I was, like, you know, 16, 17 when I first saw the movie. And I saw that and I was like, whoa, that's so cool, man. I want to be a part of something like that. And then sure enough, when I get into activism, it was supposed to be just like I was checking things off of a bucket list, right? I always wanted to go to a demonstration like that, even if it was just to stand around and be like, yeah, this is what one of these is like. But sure enough, in 2017, with the whole free speech thing going on, you know, that was something that I believed heavily in, you know, everybody's right to free speech. speech. And when I saw Antifa hurting people, I knew that I was uniquely qualified to protect people. So that's how I got into that. And then it just kind of went from there, to the point now where like I know a lot about this topic, not just hooligans, but also like more so the tactics that they utilize and the tactics that get utilized by political groups and stuff like that. Um, I'm the kind of person you want to listen to, but doesn't get listened to because I'm not like Nick Fuentes. I don't sit behind a desk. And I mean, look, Nick Fuentes is a charismatic, very well-spoken guy. I'm not as well-spoken. I can be charismatic, but not charismatic like Nick Fuentes can be. And I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve the viewership that he gets. However, like when it comes down to it, what has Nick Fuentes done IRL? What has Nick Fuentes done to actually push anything forward? All he can do is sit behind his desk and talk to his audience. And is there anything inherently wrong with that? No, not necessarily. However, we need more than just propagandists. Nick Fuentes is a propagandist. There's a lot of people out there, they're just propagandists. And unfortunately, the right wing does not know the difference between a leader and a propagandist. They think propagandists will make good leaders, but that's not always the case. And in fact, it rarely is the case that the propaganda guy is going to make a good leader. I'm the kind of guy you would want to listen to, but I don't get listened to because I'm not charismatic in that way, because I'm not as well spoken. I have good days and bad days. All right, let's be fair. I have good days and bad days, but I'm not consistent with it, And even though the stuff that I know is extremely useful, both about like how you would change the culture and also how to organize, how to organize, people wouldn't want to do that stuff. And not just because I'm not like the most charismatic either. It's that it takes a long time. You got to look at how the culture war was, for the most part, won by the left. I think the 1950s was the last I mean, I won't say last, but like when you think the last 100 years, you think of the 1950s as like probably the most conservative time in America, right? When the right wing was kind of in control. We had we had McCarthyism. Okay. We had a lot of things in the nation that were protecting it from a lot of the shit that we see now, right? Excuse me, itchy, but the left didn't take over in like 1962 and then just magically like they owned everything. It was a slow ascent into power that we are now seeing them at their peak. The zit has come to a head and it is ready to pop. And I mean, are we going to see it pop? I hope we do. There's no guarantees, though, is the thing you have to understand. And the best thing that you can do is essentially the same fucking thing that they did, This is something that they put time, effort, and energy into studying, by the way. They didn't just get lucky time and time and time again. They have people at colleges who study the way people work, the way movements work, the way society works, trends, everything like that. They study these things and they develop theories and strategies to try and get their shit to the top. And guess what? It worked. It took them 40 to 60 years, but it worked. And that unfortunately means that as we are at the bottom of the hill, we are probably not going to get to see the nation be what we think it could be, what we know it could be. It's probably going to be our kids or our grandkids that get to see that, maybe even our great grandkids. But the bottom line is you have to be willing to keep pushing the ball further down the road. You got to keep kicking it further and further and further down the road until you can't kick it anymore. And then your sons and your daughters are the ones who start kicking it. And eventually you get to the place that you want to be at, But because I don't use like racial slurs all the time, and because I have a brown wife. Oh, that was my favorite thing today was wig gnats were coming at me like, oh, you have a Latina wife, or you're a race traitor. It's like, who gives a shit, bro? You idiot. But like a lot of people, jokes aside, like a lot of people don't want that because they just don't have the patience, You know, they don't have the patience. They don't have the intelligence. You know, they're fucking low IQ idiots, you know? But anyway, I learned all this via leftist Twitter in 2016. My whole boomer family still doesn't get at all how it works, and not even worth trying to explain. And reading Among the Thugs by Bill Buford. I've never heard of that book before. It sounds interesting, though. Yeah, I mean, I learned it just from thinking about things as well as looking at stuff on, you know, not Twitter necessarily. Twitter's kind of a new thing for me, all things considered. I mean, it's not like new anymore. I've had mine since I think like late 2022, maybe even 2023. But yeah, like just being in that world and having to understand the enemy and see the way that they do things to anticipate moves as well as to try and counter them. You know, you learn a lot. You learn a lot, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not interested in learning. They're interested in sounding like they have the solution, even if that solution does not work, you know? And it sucks. It sucks. You know, we need our own intelligentsia, but the thing is, the right wing is kind of anti-intelligentsia, not for no reason, but instead of being like, oh, the intelligentsia has been captured and they are utilizing their positions and their intellect for nefarious purposes, therefore we should not be part of or have a counter intelligentsia. Instead of being that way, it should be, oh, they're doing this, we're going to do this over here, and we're going to outwork them. We're going to consume them and outwork them so that we are now the intelligentsia. That's the only way you can do that. You can't just be like, no, fuck that. That's not how it works. That's not how it works, you know? It's about soccer hooligans, recommended by Gavin McInnes. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Gavin McInnes is a strange dude, you know? Fuck him. I want to like him, but I can't get over the whole fucking like him shoving things up his ass thing. Bilal lost his third fight in a row. His time at the top is done now. How much time did he have at the top? Honestly, he won the title, and then he got beat immediately by somebody who was actually like not bad at stopping the wrestling. Like, you know, yeah, he got beat by a dude from my my wife's city. When I go to Brazil later, I'm probably going to try to train where he trains. Not because I'm trying to like bump into him or anything like that, but because he does luta livre, which is it's the other Brazilian grappling art. Everybody knows about Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but there was another grappling art form that kind of sprung up in Brazil kind of simultaneously. You know, it was kind of parallel to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it was called Luta Livre. And instead of it being based almost purely on judo, there was also a lot of catch wrestling that was built into it. It's kind of a more aggressive style, more top-heavy and things like that. And I find that to be interesting, so I want to train under that. And I just happen to be like, I wonder if they have Luta Livre in Brasilia. I guess it's like a hub of Luta Livre. Is Brasilia. Like they're big on that out there. And you know, the place that I was like looking into just happened to be where that guy trains. So I'm like, oh shit, cool. You know, I don't know, maybe I'll bump into him. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be nice, you know. Oh man. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm kind of sitting here. Live UK now. Protests are erupting across the UK. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's see. This looks like children. This looks straight up like the children were just like, hey, let's take over the street. That kid's got a beer in his hand. Yeah, this looks like the cops are busting up a party. There I am. It's straight. London erupts as thousands flood the streets, chanting England for the English and protesting against mass immigration and growing cultural tensions. I saw a Welsh flag there. I saw that Welsh dragon. Gonna see it? Oh, there it is. There it is. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if these are like are these I don't know about these. This straight up looks like it was just a party that got busted up. You're telling me that it's only high school aged kids that are hanging out there? Nah, that's just a party. This right here, I don't know. I don't know if this. There's no way this is recent, or if it is recent, it was from like last week. You know, we got some pictures here. Ah, this is Scotland too. This is fucking Scotland. This must be Glasgow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I would be so mad if my car got lit on fire. It's like, yo, guys, I'm fucking like, I agree with you. There shouldn't be migrants running around stabbing people. Did you have to do my car like that? Did you have to? You know, that's one of the things that I can't stand is like the whole, well, you have insurance. It's like, yeah, but do you know how fucking much of a pain in the ass insurance is? And then I have to go through the hassle of waiting for a payout and like getting a rental car and then going to shop for a new car because there's no way in hell I'm gonna bring that to an auto body. That ain't happening. You know, cars and buildings have been set on fire in Belfast, Northern Ireland, during a protest over the attempted beheading of a man last night by a Sudanese migrant. And I mean, why would Belfast have a Scottish flag there? This is the flag that they do in Scotland. Why would they have a Scottish flag there? And that's the worst thing about that's the worst thing about Twitter is that like you'll look for something. Yeah, we already saw this. You'll look for something. Um, you'll look for something and it'll be somebody who's just trying to get what's it called um sorry, I'm blanking because I'm tired again. Fucking you get somebody who they just want revenue. They want like the revenue stream, and because of that, like they take pictures from other shit that happened in other places at other times, and they're like, hey, this is totally happening right now, you know. Uh, Once it kicks off, gosh darn, gosh darn. Man, that's wild. Seeing that explosion of flame. Let's see that again. It should replay. Boom. Oh man. That's insane. That's fucking wild. Anyway, once it kicks off, it kicks off. Remember the troubles, the Catholics and Christian Irish, the Catholics and Christian Irish. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Anyway, the Catholics and Christian Irish fought each other. Now they have to bond together to fight the hordes of migrants trying to take over. And you know what? Like, I don't like this. The Catholics and Christian Irish fought each other. That's one of the things that Protestants like to do is they try to be like, Catholics aren't actually Christians. Where did it say you need to go to confession in the Bible? Huh? Like they get smug over shit. Like this is the last thing that needs to be said right now is starting shit between Catholics and Protestants. Like I think Protestants are Christians. I think they have it wrong, but I think they're Christians, you know? Um but like to sit here and use that, it's like what are you trying to do there? What are you trying to do there? You're trying to sow division, you know? You have a right. You have the right to remain silent, pretty much. Um, Important announcement: children and women, please stay home. If you're under 18, please don't attend. Belfast, London, Southampton are expected to host huge protests. Please take cautionary steps. It's going to be a long night tonight. Oh boy, oh boy. Um, See this right here. This right here, right? This was like one of the first things that happened today. They burned a giant bus. And again, look, it is daylight out. It has to be like 6, maybe 7 p.m. is what it has to be here. That is bonkers. I heard the victim was from Scotland originally. Yes, he was. They identified him. I forget. They identified him, you know. Um There we go. Oh, man, we got, yep. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Damn. Scott, are you red-pilled on the Ulster Scots? Hold on one sec. I want to watch the rest of this.
Holy fuck.
Or as much of it as we can.
You can't even
Oh,
stand
that's
back
the
close
bus.
to it. You need to go back.
That's the bus. Yeah, you don't want to be hanging out there, dude. What do you think you're doing?
He's saying. Ew. There's the other tire way. Not that there. I wonder what that are.
Man, that is fucking wild. Oh shit, was there another one, or did he just walk around another way? It looks like, oh no, you know what? I feel like he may have crossed the street to get a different angle. Is what may have happened. Oh yeah, yeah. That's what it is. That's what it is. Man, that's fucking wild. Anyway, Scott, are you red-pilled on the Ulster Scots? Yeah, you know what? Like, I mean, I know the history behind them. There was the Ulster Plantation, which was an attempt to ethnically replace the inhabitants of Ireland with Protestant Scottish people mainly, right? And that's why they're called the Ulster Scots, is because they're the Scottish people, the Scots, who were living in Ulster, right? And that's one of the things, like not to get too deep into the Brother Wars thing, but that's one thing that I've been really annoyed about lately, is you have a lot of dudes who, like, they consider themselves to be founding stock, even though they, at this point, have 100% been mongrelized, just like I have. I'm Irish, Italian, Swedish, fucking, like, I'm so many different things. I'm a little bit Scottish too, you know. I have French Canadian in me as well. Like, most Americans are mongrelized. It's just that they're mongrelized whites. They're not like one specific group. Their genealogy is a whole mix of different groups of white now, right? And you have these people who, much in the way that I mostly identify with my Irish ancestry, they may take their like 40 to 60% English ancestry, and they may have people that they can reach back to and claim, he was a founding American, which I have that in my bloodline, by the way, too. My, like, ancestors of mine set up the southeastern part of New Hampshire, basically. It was like they played a huge role in that. They also fought in the Revolution. They fought in the French and Indian War, you know. But moving on from that, you have these dudes who, like, they take their 40 to 60% English ancestry and they reach back to the founding of the nation and they go, "That's my guy. That's I'm a heritage American. I am a native. If you're of Irish descent, you and your bloodline came here in the 1800s, and you fucking took over the nation." And like, they frame it as though it's like some kind of like horrible bad thing or something like that. And it's like, no, dude, fucking, like, shut up. You know, stop with the brother war shit. And that's what ends up happening, is you have somebody who they point to the fact that a lot of the South especially was people of Irish descent, and they turn around and they're like, actually it was Ulster Scots, basically just trying to say it was British people, but not. And it's like, you know, the Scottish are of Gaelic descent as well, right? You know, the Irish and the Scots are quite literally the same. It's just that because there's a body of water that runs between the two places, they developed a little bit differently over time, but they are both still Gaelic in nature. They come from that Gaelic Celt bloodline. That's the way it works, you know? So it's one of those things where it's like you have these like weird Protestant assholes who, and mind you, Catholics typically don't give a fuck about anybody. They don't care. It's like, oh, whatever, you're a Protestant, that's fine by me. It's only the Protestants and the Orthodox guys that are like all up in arms and they want to try and knock Catholicism down a peg, you know? But you have those guys who they try and turn it into like actually it was just more English people. It was more British people is what it was. It wasn't actually the Irish. The Irish weren't founding stock. Meanwhile, one of the generals in Washington's army, in fact, Washington's top general, now that I think of it, was a fucking Sullivan in the first place. You know, he was, not him specifically, but his family was Catholic. They only switched over because there was no way you were going to be Catholic in the New World. It just wasn't going to happen. There was no Catholic parishes in the New World. So they were like, whatever, I guess we'll become Presbyterians then, is what ended up happening, you know? It's frustrating and annoying, and I think what it is that there's a lot of people out there who they still haven't come to terms with the fact that it's okay to just say, no, I don't want immigrants from Somalia. No, I don't want immigrants from China. No, I don't want immigrants from South Africa unless they're the white South Africans that are getting murdered out there. Those are actual refugees that we should probably do something to help. You know, it's possible to say no to those while also saying, you know what, I don't think I care if an Irish dude comes and, you know, immigrates. I think I'm all right with that. You know, some English guy wants to move here, you know, he wants to stay here forever. Fine by me. It's okay to have both of those beliefs. But there's a lot of people out there who they've been psyoped into believing that the worst thing you could be is a hypocrite. And because of that, they're always trying to ask for permission. They're seeking permission constantly. And that's one of the ways that they virtue signal to the left is like, oh no, actually, it's not that they're brown. It's that they're not heritage Americans like me. I don't even want the Irish here, so I'm not racist. In fact, I think you're the real racist. Democrats are the real racists. I think the Irish need to get out of my country, and the Italians too, and the Polish, and the like. That's their way of doing it. It's a very dweeby thing, you know. They're fucking dweebs. They're dweebs, you know. But yeah, like. When you say red pilled on the Ulster Scots E9000, I don't even really know what you mean by that. Like, are you just asking me if I know about them? Because yes, I do know the history of the Ulster Scots. You know, I also know that when they immigrated to Ireland, it wasn't just like they're doing Scottish things over in Ireland. They did assimilate to some degree with Irish society, to some degree. Right, to some degree. And that's why they brought over a lot of the music that would end up becoming country and bluegrass and all these other things. That was Irish music that they brought over, and it became what we think of when we think of like rhythm and blues and stuff like that, you know? People try to go like, oh, black people invented rock and roll. It was rhythm and blues first. Yeah, well, before it was rhythm and blues, it was Irish folk music. So shut the fuck up, you know, you idiot. But yeah. Oh man, that is again this right here. This right here is crazy. You know, if there's one thing I'm sick of though, it's dweebs. I'm sick of dweebs who are just like shitty. You know, they're shitty at everything. They can't do anything. They can't run. They can't jump. They can't think properly. They take up a political belief system, wholesale. They take up a political belief system and they adhere to that system as though it's like the rules of a game or something like that. And because of that, they try to browbeat you. You know, I was thinking about that last night. I went for a walk late at night, and I was thinking about libertarians. I don't know why they popped into my head, but like, libertarians are the biggest rule lawyers, and they're the biggest dweebs for rules. You would think that since they are all about personal freedom and having as few rules as possible, that means that they wouldn't be sticklers and they would like be chill about stuff. But no, they're the first guys to try and browbeat you over anything at all, whether it's like a NAP violation, an NAP violation, or if it's something, some other thing that they don't even have business trying to fuck with you over. You know, they're always looking for somebody to fucking browbeat. That's just the way that they are, you know? It's like, holy fucking shit, man. You know, I can't. I literally can't. I cannot. I can't. That's just what I mean, that they were sent here by the King of England in the 1700s to displace the Catholics in Northern Ireland. My fam was Ulster Scots, who eventually became Catholic, as they should have. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, because you know what? I feel like I hear more about situations like the I feel like I hear more about the situations like the General Sullivan thing, where his family became Presbyterians because they were like, oh fuck, like where are we gonna find a Catholic church here? Is there even a are we gonna have to go to the Spanish section? Is that what we're gonna have to do? We're gonna have to go to Dude, are you fucking kidding me with this shit? That's so annoying. Anyway, like that's probably the only. No, actually, no. You could go up north to Quebec. You could go to New France back then if you wanted to find a Catholic priest, because France is a Catholic country. And little known fact, the founding fathers, who apparently were like, no, Catholicism, no way. They actually approached France, not France, excuse me. They approached Quebec. They approached what was New France, that was later taken over by the British. They approached the French Canadians, is what we'll call them. They approached them and tried to get them to join the revolutionary cause, the patriot cause. And the French were like, no, we will not be joining your cause. We feel that the British will respect our Catholic ways better than the colonists will. Like, they literally were like, yo, sounds cool, but we don't think you guys are actually going to treat us with respect and dignity. We feel that you're probably going to be fucking assholes to us because we're Catholics. So, in the interest of holding on to our Catholic faith, we think we're going to stick with the British, and that's why Newfoundland and Quebec are not part of America nowadays. And actually, speaking of General Sullivan, there was an attempt to take over. There was an attempt to invade Quebec in the Revolutionary War, and it failed. It was repulsed. It didn't happen. It happened, but it didn't. They didn't get a foothold. Right? They attacked. They got repelled. But yeah, it's like listening to like asshole dweebs who have no understanding of praxis or even like strategy talk on Twitter is the most annoying fucking thing ever. It's unbearable. It's unbearable. Anyway, we'll go ahead. We'll take a look at these bad Larrys.
On the outskirts of North Belfast, several hundred people gathered at the Clockfern roundabout.
And hold on one sec, right? Like, you see that. Now, granted, this camera is not that great. They kind of filmed it with a potato. But tell me how many people are in this. Like, you couldn't count them. If they were all wearing different colors, they'd stand out from each other. You would have a pretty easy time being able to count them. But, like, here, I can't tell where one guy starts and one guy ends. Here, I can see, like, the difference between different people's heads. Like, heads stand out, but like right here, I can't tell where one guy starts and one guy ends. It's literally just a black blob. It's a black mass of people, and good luck picking one guy out of that crowd who threw a Molotov. Good luck with that,
Skirts of North Belfast, several hundred people gathered at the Clockfern roundabout. After the speeches, 200 masked men broke away and marched into the White Abbey estate. On the outskirts of North...
Man, that's crazy. I want to see more. Oh. All right, I guess we could watch a street fight. Fuck it. This definitely isn't today. This definitely is not today.
Oh, stop. Isaac in the car, dude.
Come on, fight it! Dreamers, come on!
Hold on. I just heard, Seamus, come on! Oh, wait. Oh, dude. You hear that? Seamus, come on! Among other things, among some other things that were being yelled by this guy.
Where you going? Yeah, bitch. Fuck balls out here.
Look at him look at his friend like, help.
Oh.
Anyway, one of the things you have to realize about people from like Africa is that they don't have a sporting culture the way we do, you know? We have a sporting culture, so the average American, even if he's overweight, is a million times more athletic than the average African. It's just the way it is, you know? And in addition to that, they come from a culture where they don't pick fights with people that they could lose to. The only people they try to fight, the only people they try to take advantage of are people they think they can truly and totally get away with it from. Somebody who would be way too scared to stand up for themselves, somebody who would be unable to protect themselves, right? So when you stand up to these people who come into your areas, who come into your towns, your communities, and they try to do things like put hands on children and stuff like that, there really isn't anything to worry about a lot of the time, as long as it's not like a 5-on-1 situation, or as long as somebody doesn't have a knife. And I'm not telling people to fight anybody necessarily. This is the context of this is if you ever have to defend yourself from somebody, if you ever have to stop a crime in progress and you happen to be in Europe or anything like that, right? There really isn't much physical recourse that those guys are going to have. And this is something that is true of not just like Africa, but also the Middle East as well. They not only are they not sporting cultures, but they're not even like tough man cultures. They're not the kinds of cultures that value the guy who stands up to the bully or anything like that. They value the bully. So a lot of the time you have a situation where you might have some fucking like Iranian dude. You might have some Kuwaiti guy who's like, I will give you the mother of all beatings. I will kill you, man. Do not try to mess with me. And then you give them a smack and all of a sudden they turn into fucking like Apu. You know, oh no, are you crazy? Are you crazy? What are you crazy? Like that's what happens, because what they're doing is they're trying to test the waters to see if they can get away with it. They're trying to convince you that they are more trouble than they're worth. And it's like, look, most people are more trouble than they're worth. You shouldn't be fighting people. That's not something that you should be doing. But again, if you are in a situation where you have to defend yourself from one of these people, that's just kind of the truth. It's kind of the truth, you know. Excuse me. And it's true of a lot of different groups of people, you know. But we won't get too deep into the whole like talking about race thing, you know, like fucking I'm not even really talking about race. I'm talking about like area of the world that you come from, you know. China is an example of a sporting culture in Europe, in Asia, you know. You have Russia in Eurasia, right? Thailand, like I mean, they love Muay Thai and they like soccer, but they're not really like a sporting culture like that, you know? We have sports built into our institutions. Not only when you go to high school can you play sports, but you have a gym class, which is mandatory, that you're going to have to do physical activity. You know, it's going to happen, and if you don't, you'll fail the class. Although I feel like they don't fucking fail anybody in gym class anymore. I feel like it's just like, whatever. Oh, you're gonna walk the mile run? Well, it looks like we're gonna be here for 45 minutes because I see how quickly you walk. So, yeah, I guess I'll give you a B plus instead of an A. Like, I feel like that's what happens a lot of the time. But the bottom line is, like, you really don't have to worry about that type of shit with a lot of people, you know? Specifically, a lot of people from those areas. Oh, excuse me. Man. How many of these dudes do you think are feds doing crowd control? You see, I don't, like, I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of police force. I'm sure there's some kind of, like, federal presence there, and it would not surprise me to find that one or more of them are undercover. But the thing is, there's so many people there that there's no way the feds are going to be able to do anything to stop that. They're just going to observe. That's really it. They're going to observe, they're going to report. And that's what we used to do when we would infiltrate, quote unquote, black blocs. To infiltrate a black bloc, all you have to do is show up in block and follow people around. That's it. That's all you need to do. So when I say infiltrate, what I really mean is show up dressed in black and follow Antifa around on the day. We would try our best to glean as much information about these people personally, as well as what their actions and what their intentions from moment to moment were, you know, and we might report back to somebody or something like that, you know. But like, even if it was like 20 soy boys, it's like, well, you know, 20 soy boys versus one real man. Your money should still probably be on the soy boys, if we're being honest here, you know. But like, because of that, it's like what are you gonna do? Stop somebody? Be like, no, enough? No, of course not. You know, you're gonna try to make an arrest. It's like, forget about it. You know, you get pummeled to death. You will get pummeled to death is what will happen. You will fucking die if you try to do that. You know, it's not gonna be good for you. Not gonna be good for you. Let me see something down here, but oh man, I'm trying to think of other stuff. Oh yeah. But do I want to talk about that? There was a boomer in Hopkinton, Massachusetts. I played against them in the championship game for a Pop Warner season, and we beat them. It was Hopkinton Ashland, and I almost got kicked out of the game for throwing a cheap shot on somebody. The guy was being a fucking asshole though, you know, so he deserved it. Fuck that kid. Fuck that kid. Fuck him. But jokes aside, like like Hopkinton, Mass. That's like west of Boston, if I remember correctly, is about where that is, and there was you know what? Fuck it. I guess we're talking about it. I guess that's what's happening right now. Let me see here. Up. My new favorite picture, ladies and gentlemen. Bang! Jump scare. That is fucking beautiful. That's a woman who is reacting to the Carmelo Anthony thing, you know. And look, if there's one thing I can say to go back to the Carmelo Anthony thing, it's be careful. All right, be careful out there. Keep your head on a swivel. There's going to be a lot of people out there, especially in Texas, where you know, they're going to be looking for get back of some kind, and you gotta keep an eye out. You know, you see someone walking towards you, they look a little sketchy, maybe across the street. Don't look at someone who you get a weird feeling from and just go, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm probably just being paranoid, and then look away, because you know what? That's how you get got. That's exactly how you get got, you know? So yeah, just be careful of that, because you might round a corner and you might see this woman making this face at you, and you might not get to go home to your wife, you know? Anyway, I want to talk about this, right? It's about a week old at this point. I was going to talk about it last week, but it just yes. Okay, bada bing, bada boom. Right here. So a lot of people got mad at me for this. And you know what? I like my own posts, by the way, because I like gems. I only like gems, so I like all of my own posts. But people got mad at me for this, right? And I want to explain it a little bit more. So you have this situation here, right? Pop. You hear that snap like you bit into a hot dog? Like you snapped into a Slim Jim?
Flashback.
I didn't, but I should. You don't like it too bad. It's time to go. You live there and listen to you doing it all day long and see how you like it.
Whoop-de-doo, you bought a house on the lake. Deal with
Yeah,
it.
well, whoop-de-doo.
He does live there and he does listen to it. Like, what?
I'm following the rules of the lake. I'm not
No, you're not. You're not following. You see the sign?
Everybody else is
You
out
see the
on
sign?
road.
You see the sign? Can you read?
No, I stopped here one time. Oh,
You didn't
no.
stop there one time. Believe me. Time to
What?
go.
Like what? Like,
Just
do you
if you
have anything better to
if you
do?
only stayed for a
Just
little
enjoy
while
your
and
day.
did your thing, it's
Just
time to
enjoy
go.
your day. Let me
It's-
have fun on my jet ski.
No, go take it to another lake, someplace
I
else.
live on the lake.
Where do you live?
On Downey Street.
You don't. Go over to Downey. Go over there.
Bro, dude, get a job, bro.
Where do you live? What number not Downey you live on?
I'm not telling you where I live.
Well, I'll find out by your registration of your car.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
I will.
No, you won't actually.
I
You
will.
won't. I promise you, you won't.
Dude,
I promise
just
you
get
I
out
will.
of here, bro. You're not gonna do. Like, really? What are you
I'll
gonna do?
just call the police again. That's all.
Okay, are they gonna shoot me? Like, is that what they're gonna do?
You want me to shoot you?
All right, shoot me.
And I'm black.
Shoot me.
I don't care. Come, take purple. Come on. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy.
What are you gonna do?
Come on,
Shoot
big
me?
boy. Come on, big boy. Do it.
What am I gonna do?
Come on, big boy.
You're the one coming up to me. So
Come on, big boy. Let's do it. Come on. Use that big mouth of yours and do something about it.
With your mouth. Yeah.
Fucking snapped into a Slim Jim, bro. Holy fuck. Every time I see that. But anyway, so look, we don't have to watch the whole thing. I just wanted to watch this for you know, and I like fucking you got to see my face in the corner, right? I just wanted to watch it again so that we could see everything that went down. I said, hate on me for it, but the teens aren't the good guys here. Didn't need to be drowned about it, but they're not the victims either. This is a big problem that I have with the world today, specifically, you know, Western culture, I guess you could say. We have been so domesticated, we've been so made into cattle that the idea of somebody hitting somebody over fighting words is such a like, oh, kind of thing, right? Like I said, this isn't okay. Probably shouldn't be trying to fucking murder people over words like that. It's you know, the boomer is not the good guy. The kids are not the good guy. There's no good guy here. Everybody fucking sucks, you know? This boomer over here, he lives in a house and he constantly has to hear excuse me. He constantly has to hear that. The dude was probably like, yo, I really don't want to have to hear that. Let me go over there. Now, I don't know how he originally approached those kids, but I mean, regardless, those dudes were giving it right back to him, and they were calling his bluff. The thing about calling a bluff is that you are also bluffing. You don't call a bluff and not bluff yourself, because your bluff becomes, if you do something, I'm going to do something. That's what it ends up becoming. That kid got his bluff called, and guess what? You know. And my favorite part about this, right? Let's go up a little bit, right? Let's go up a little bit. You hear that? You hear that? You hit me first and I have a broken leg. Where's the tough talk now, little guy? Where's the fucking tough talk? And that's what I was trying to say is like, look, the kid's fucking talking tough. The boomer had something he wanted to do about it. You said he wasn't going to do shit, and then the boomer did shit. Now you're going to sit there and be like, I have a broken leg. I have a broken leg. That's something that, like, old women like to do. That's something old people in general, but especially women like to do. I mean, women in general, not even just old women. They love to do that thing where they try and put hands on a dude, and then a guy's like, yo, fucking stop. And they're like, what are you going to do, hit a girl? They're like... there needs to be a word for it. There needs to be a word for it, and I don't know what it's going to be. I was calling it tough pussying, and that's such a like bad like way to fucking describe it. It just doesn't roll off the tongue very well, like gaslighting does, or love bombing, or anything like that. But you have these people who they hide behind the reason why they should probably not get their ass beat. And then they turn around and they start treating people poorly. Like, this dude has a broken leg, so he should probably be a lot nicer to people than he usually would be. Because, after all, if you have a broken leg, how are you going to fight somebody if you get into a fight? You're probably not going to, you know? But you have a lot of these people who, because they're frail in some way, because they're a woman, because they're old, because they're... because they have a broken leg or something like that, which that kid was fine. I saw some crutches, but he was fine enough to be riding his fucking jet ski. He was fine enough to be standing without the crutches. Kid was all right. The kid was all right, okay? Fucking, like, these people who hide behind the injury and stuff like that while also trying to throw shots. It's like, nah, fuck that, you know? You'll see people literally be like, and again, this is the very womanly way to do it. You're a fucking pussy and you got a little dick and fuck you. Yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass. Don't fuck with me, buddy. I'm fucking crazy. I'll fuck you up. And then they get smacked and it's, oh, but I'm just a girl. But I'm just a little girl. But you hit me, I'm a girl. You hit girls. But why are you hitting girls? What the fuck? I'm a girl. You're not supposed to hit girls. Like, that's literally the way that they do shit. I've trained with people who are like that, where like they want to beat the fuck out of you during sparring, and when you teep them a little too hard, they're like, oh, I'm a girl. You gotta take it easy, and then they go back to trying to fucking smash you. You know. there's a lot of people out there who they just want to move through the world mistreating fucking everybody all the time. They want to be able to really stick it to people who a lot of the time don't deserve it. And even when they do deserve it, it's like a who are you kind of situation. Like, what, you get to be the guy? Like, no, fuck you. You know, there's a lot of people out there who just constantly all the time want to get everything that they want, including their sick kicks where they sadistically talk down to or mistreat people. And when the consequences of that kind of shit hit them, all of a sudden they're just a little baby. All of a sudden they're just a little girl. All of a sudden they got a broken leg, you know, and you're a big old meanie for calling their bluff, you know. And that's what this was. This wasn't like actually the boomer's the good guy. No, the boomer's obviously the bad guy too. But you know what? If you're going to talk shit, don't be surprised when you get hit. If you're going to call somebody's bluff, you better not be bluffing too. You know, and that's something that I'm tired of, is this, like, and it kind of came out, right? I told a story on Twitter yesterday about something that happened over the weekend. I went to a bakery, right? And it was a new bakery. My wife and I had never been there before. And this lady was just a dumb cunt. She was a purple-haired, liberal, middle-aged woman, probably like very early boomer, late Gen X kind of deal. And I know she was a liberal because other than the purple hair, she had no Kings posters on the wall. And I walk in with my wife, and she is just immediately dismissive of me and pretty much only me. There was a black dude in the store. She was nice to him. She was nice to my wife. And then a white lady walked in shortly after my wife and I walked in, and she was nice to the white lady. But with me, she was just fucking bitchy. And I order the stuff for me and my wife, and I go to pay. And before she's even done, like, ringing the stuff up and having me pay, she looks to my wife, who is standing like 10 feet in that direction now, just kind of doing her own thing. And she's like, "Can I help you? What can I get you?" She literally, even though she saw my wife and I walk in together, discuss what we were going to get, I ordered for both of us. She turns around and she fucking, like, for some reason pretended like my wife and I weren't together. I think that was probably her way of being, like, trying to further alienate me or something like that. But to me, it was very clear that it was like a racial thing and probably a gender thing too. This is an old white lady, right? But I mean, a lot of old white ladies nowadays, they hate white men, especially young white men. You know, I think it's a jealousy thing that they're like, oh, like, this guy would not choose me, so they're mad about it, right? In addition to just the general liberal shit that they go over, right? But like, as a result, like, I'm not, look, I'm not gonna like fight the woman or anything like that. It's not even like she did anything that was overtly aggressive. It was just constant passive aggressiveness. So what I did, I returned the favor with some more passive aggression. I walked out, I grabbed a chair that was sitting outside, because she had one of those setups where you have a table and chairs outside, and I dragged the chair like several yards down the street as I was walking away so that she would have to go retrieve it later on. Bonus points if she saw me do that, right? Like, that's imposing costs. You know, a lot of people want to mistreat others without the cost being imposed on them. Now, is that petty? Yes, it is. It's petty on my part, for sure. It's not like I really stuck it to her hard. No, it was just like a little fucking fuck you kind of thing, just like what she was doing with me. And there's a lot of people out there who, like, when I did that and when I told people about it, they were like, what? So you proved her right? It's like, sure, I proved her right. Sure. Yeah. What should I have done? Instead, I should have left and not done anything, and she would have been like, yeah, I totally got away with fucking with that guy. No, it's like I said, if it comes down to you either being a bad guy and living or a good guy and dead, it's better to be the bad guy who lives, right? Obviously, in this situation, it's not the bad guy who lives, but it's like, I will gladly prove her right and give her a reason to dislike me if she's gonna treat me that way, specifically because of the color of my skin and my gender, You know, it's like, I'm not really concerned with whether or not she hates me more than she already does. Before I even walked in, it was clear there was nothing I could have done to endear myself to this woman. So because of that, fuck it. Fuck her. She can walk an extra 15, 20 yards to get her chair when she closes up for the night, you know? Have you seen Freddie from Germany driving around for the World Cup? Has to be a psyop, right? I don't even know who Freddie from Germany is. I don't pay attention to soccer shit. I think that stuff's gay. Yeah, you know, somebody in my jiu-jitsu class came to me and he was like, "You think Scotland's gonna win the World Cup?" And I was like, I don't care, you know. Anyway, but yeah, yeah. Who's Freddie from Germany? I don't know who the hell that is, you know. Man, boy, oh boy, oh boy. But yeah, like, you have to impose costs on people. There's certain situations where you definitely should just let it go, right? Like, for instance, another situation, I went into a restaurant and there was this family there and they had two small kids, and the small kids literally ran into me because their grandpa got there shortly after my wife and I walked in, and they were excited to see their grandpa. So they literally tried to shove me out of the way, but they're children, so like they just kind of bounced off me, right? And that was rude, but it's children. And the family didn't exactly say sorry. They didn't exactly go, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." But it was two small children. I'm not going to start a big fight with like the dad over that, because the last thing I need to do is scar two small kids for life, seeing their dad get his head bashed off of pavement. That's the last thing I need to be doing. So I let that one go. But in other situations, like where I'm being disrespected for my race, religion, creed, etc., that's something that I'm not so ready to let go of. I'm not so ready to just let that one roll off my back. And even if it's something as petty as, "Yeah, you're going to have to walk and get your chair," it serves a purpose. And that purpose is, I'm not going to be the guy who gets walked on all the time. Even if it's just something that I can know for myself, like it's like small acts of kindness, right? That you don't get witnessed by other people. You tell yourself, "Well, that's okay. I know I did it, and that's all that matters." Literally, the same thing goes for stuff like that. The same exact thing goes for stuff like that. Is like, well, yeah, I mean, hey, that guy fucking, he doesn't know that or, you know, in this case, she doesn't know that I dragged her chair because of the way she treated me. But you know what? I know it. So my dignity is intact on some level. I didn't just let her get away with disrespecting me in a way that was going to hurt my soul. You know, you have to protect your soul, because a lot of people, they want to kill you via death by 1,000 cuts, and you will bleed out eventually. You know, you have to protect your soul a little bit, you know. Is an account of a German going around the U.S. and showing people that our nation isn't actually complete shit and ugly. I think I've seen it, but I haven't looked into it. Yeah, I've never heard of that. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to be on the lookout for the guy. Maybe I'll have to be on the lookout for him. I'll bring him to Brockton. You know, man. Carmelo looking spiffy with his new inmate haircut. Oh, really? Did they cut his hair? Did they fucking cut his hair? Carmelo Anthony. Man. Sorry, I'm looking at. I don't know. Is there like a new haircut that he's been shown in? Did they buzz the dookie? Did they buzz the fucking the dookie look off of him? They probably should. You know. You know, the most and the most unfortunate thing about that is that he's probably not going to be punished in prison. He's. I mean, is there a chance that he will be turned out by the black dudes in the prison? I mean, I guess maybe. You know, there's a good chance he'll be somebody's bitch, even if it's not a turn and tricks situation. He might owe somebody commissary or something like that for protection. But it also wouldn't surprise me that because he killed a white boy, if they decided that they would protect him basically for free and that they would even give him a little bit of status, especially because he's going to be a long-term inmate. One of the big misconceptions about prisons, specifically California, Texas, Oregon, things like that, places that are racially segregated. Not all prisons are racially segregated, but you know, a lot of the ones on the West Coast are, and then you have ones like federal penitentiaries that tend to be racially segregated. The whole prison rules thing, that only goes for whites and certain Mexicans. It's literally only the whites and the Sureños. And I don't know if the Norteños do it too, right? But whites and Sureños are the ones who have those kinds of politics in prisons, where it's like if you're a child molester, you get fucked with, like, heavily, you know. If you're a rapist, you get fucked with heavily. They try to beat you off the yard, or they may even kill you or something like that, right? If you're black, they simply don't care about that. In fact, if you raped a white woman, you might be getting high fives in there. That actually might be some major respect points for you, you know. That's something that a lot of people don't realize. So there's a good chance, right? And this is one of the reasons why the death penalty is so important. There's a good chance that Carmelo Anthony is going to be doing decently easy time considering the situation that he's in, you know, which is unfortunate. And this is, again, one of the reasons why the death penalty is more preferable, because for one thing, like, a lot of these black inmates, they don't get fucked with the way that like a white inmate would for doing something as heinous as a rape or something like that, you know. But then in addition to that, it's like, I think it speaks volumes that somebody, instead of doing what would be the right thing, which is murdering a murderer, they want a more sadistic, more long, more drawn out punishment that is enacted by some of the worst that our society has to offer. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think that's something to, I don't think that's something to, I don't think that's something to pride ourselves in. I don't think that's something to aspire to. I think if you're in prison, it should be a punishment. Therefore, you don't get to enjoy yourself by beating up a chomo, you know. I don't think that's how that should work, you know. I think there's certain things that if somebody does, it should just be the death penalty, and that's that, you know, including chomos. But anyway, oh man, oh man, for. Hey man, they're making mellow whole pockets in there. That was man, fucking calling them mellow. That's something that's something about black people that has always been like a fucking weird and funny thing. Like as far as black culture goes, it's like, what is your guys' problem? Is they have like they have nicknames, and then they have nicknames for the nicknames, you know, like Method Man, right? Method Man is a nickname for somebody whose real name I don't know. And then eventually, Method Man became too much. It became too normalized, and people decided it was too long. So the rest of Wu-Tang started calling him Meth instead. So he went from whatever his birth name was to Method Man to Meth. It's like eventually it's going to be me, and then eventually it's just going to be M. Because for some reason that's part of black culture, I guess, you know. But yeah, calling someone mellow is like that's like a yeah, like that's such a gross name, you know. It's like calling me Sully, right? That's one of the things boomers do, is they call people with the last name Sullivan, they call them Sully, right? If you call me Sully, I'm gonna want to kick you in the balls. You know, it's such a gross thing to call someone. Hey, Sully. It's like, I'm not. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of my face. You know. I saw a post calling Kool-Aid pineapples N-word pickles. You know, I wanted to get through the issues that I was having with my stream, right? As of right now, everything looks like it's pretty good. Everything looks like we're doing all right. It's been smooth sailing this entire time, which is fantastic, because like I said, last week I was watching some YouTube shorts, and I couldn't even do that without my shit going down, you know? Like I said, I replaced the good old CPU, you know? this might be a stupid idea, but I want to see if I can harvest the gold off of this processor, because the thing's junk. It's failing. You know, I want to see if I can harvest the gold off of it. Which, like I said, probably a dumb idea, probably a waste of time. But you know, it's fun. It's a fun idea. It's a fun thought. But what was I gonna fucking say? Oh yeah. One of the things I was thinking of doing was trying to make Kool-Aid pineapples on stream. I was thinking I could make Kool-Aid pineapples on one of my streams. Um, I feel like that'd be interesting. It'd be fun. It'd be a good time. It'd be a gay old time, a grand old time is what it'd be. Oh man. Oh, my fucking ass is hurting, bro. I haven't sat down for 2 hours straight without getting up in a little over a week. So, you know, my ass is not as conditioned as it was. But I want to say thank you, everybody who's tuned in so far. You guys know I appreciate the hell out of you. It was not as bad of a stream as I expected. When I first started up, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be terrible, you know. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, you know. Um, could have been worse. Could have been worse, you know. Let's keep on looking around, right? Um, man, I'm surprised there's been a a a, a racist black monsters threatening whites after the conviction murder of Carmelo Anthony.
Arlington, Grand Prairie, Collin County, Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Grand Prairie, Irvin, Dalworth, Plano, Denton, Keller. It ain't safe for none of you white folks to come out this weekend. I'm giving y'all a fair warning right now. And guess what? It's gonna be a bunch of niggas outside that look like me. And we ain't out there with no pocket knives. We out there with these. I guarantee y'all gonna pay for what that judge just did to Carmelo.
They look like, hey, they look like me. It's like, oh yeah, they look like bitch made motherfuckers. That's what they look like. There's a piece of me that feels like this is probably a joke. There's a piece of me that feels like this is probably a joke. But one of the things you have to realize is that like a lot of people on the internet are just blowing smoke. And I mean, obviously, right? We all know this. But like one of the things about gangs is that they never leave their neighborhoods, you know? So you really don't have anything to worry about as long as you stay away from the bad part of town. But also be on the lookout, because every now and again you get somebody who thinks it's a great idea to go into the good part of town. Or if you live in the bad part of town, keep your head on a swivel. And like I said, don't take chances. Don't just assume that this guy walking towards you from the other side of the sidewalk, you know, you're going this way, he's going that way. Don't assume that he's just trying to get home from work. You should probably cross the street. I would also invest in some pepper spray. I'm at my parents' house for another week or two, and I don't even know where I put the pepper spray that I have. Oh, actually, oh man. You know, I carry pepper spray when I go out at night because I've been having a hard time sleeping at night, so I go for night walks. It's also nice to just walk around the town that I grew up in and see all the old haunts and stuff like that. You know, I like walking around. I like walking at night as well. And like, I haven't been around here for years, you know. I haven't lived in this town for years. I've been all over the place. And because of that, I always make sure that I do carry this with me, because just in case, you know, for one thing, I don't know, maybe a fucking fisher cat emerges from the woods that I'm walking by and tries to get at me, you know. I actually had a moment a couple of weeks ago. I thought I was going to have to use this. I'm going for a walk. It's about 3 a.m. and there's this guy, right? I'm walking down a street in this direction. The guy is walking at a street that intersects with this street going that direction, right? And we hit the street corner at just about the same time. This guy had a stick with him. And I assumed that he was just going for a night walk, but also I didn't take that for granted. I had my hand on the pepper spray in my pocket, and when I walked by him, I made sure that I, like, you know, he's over here. I'm not like looking over there. I made sure to kind of like, you know, like just keep him in the peripherals, not like looking like that, but I made sure that like I could hear him, how far away he was, and I could see at least a little bit of something. And when I walk by, the guy yells, "What are you doing out so late?" And I whipped out the fucking pepper spray. I don't think he saw it because it's all black, right? And it was dark out. Obviously, it's 3 a.m. But that dude almost got pepper sprayed, and then we would have seen what happened from there. I don't know if I would have ran or if I would have started raining down punches on him. But, like, you never know. You know? Fucking this was some, like, weird freak, like, dude in his mid-50s who, like, you can tell he's one of those Dorchester trash motherfuckers. He's the kind of guy who thinks everybody wants to have a conversation with him. So when he did that, I whip out the pepper spray and I'm like, what? Like, I was like, what? You know, like, I'm not in the mood to talk. What? And he was like, oh, I was just messing with you because we're both out on the walk. And it's like, yeah, don't fucking do that, guy. You almost got seriously hurt. What, you think I'm out on this walk because I want to talk to people? Fucking walk the other way next time. Walk into traffic. How about that one? You fucking idiot, you know? Oh, man. We, the Sully MMA fan base, do not condone this racist and tyrannical ruling against Carmelo Anthony. We do not. We do not. Not one bit. No, sir. Man. It's hot in here. That's one thing I'm looking forward to is because I don't have an AC in here. I have to sleep with the windows open, and I do not get good airflow in here. So I wake up in like sweats. I wake up like sweaty. That is not something it's not something I'm looking forward to. But man, it is about that time to get out of here. I have literally 30 seconds until that 2-hour mark. Again, I want to say thank you everybody who popped in today. I appreciate it. I don't know when I'm going to be streaming again. I have something going on this weekend. So there's a very good chance I'm not going to be able to stream Friday night. If I can stream tomorrow or Thursday, I will, but there's a very good chance I won't be able to. So, I mean, I might be streaming maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday next week. If not, it'll definitely be like a Wednesday kind of situation or something like that. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad people popped in. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Suck Sullivan, don't mess with his load, or you will get undone. Spinning round and round, bleeding on the ground. Scotty Rocker, laundry killer, no remorse in this beamer. Fabric assassin, hood cleaner, coming for your Rasta queen. Rape on the washing machine, no use to fight back. MMA, knock your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smokes. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye round the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rocker laundry lynch. Your nigga head like a KKK. Hush your nigga mouth if you can't walk the talk. Smoke. Me running really, really fast. Ginger eye on the back of me black ass. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Closing inch by inch, got me in a pinch. Modern day Scotty Rocker laundry lynch. Chasing me like a devil, pot belly of the beast. Calling me a dickhead, there is no resist. Oh.